But here's the thing about spiritual growth. Spiritual growth keeps you perceptionally or perceptually connected to God. Listen to what I said. Spiritual growth, it keeps us perceptually. That word is so important. Perceptually connected to God. The reason why I say this is because we're never separated from God in the first place. We're only separated by our perception, which is we're taught that in religion. We're taught that in, we just come in this world feeling and being taught that we are separated from God. But if we are made in the image and likeness of God, if we are God's creation, if we are God's very own, then we cannot be separated from God. The only way that we can be separated is via our perception. Jesus himself said in John chapter 10 verse 30, I and the Father are one. I and the Father are one. I want you to say that. I and the Father are one. Can you say I without including yourself? Say, I and the Father are one. I and the Father are one. Just like the scripture says, be still and know that I am God. The I is you. The I is me. The I is one. We are all one. So who is the I? The I is the true self. The I is the true self. In this passage, Jesus was referring to the I, which is the true self, the one, which is why he confidently said, I and the Father are one. Because when you say I say I, other people say I, we're actually talking about the same exact being. But we perceive that it's individual because you're a separate being based on physical, bodies and physical dimensions and spaces that we're in. But we're all really one. And so when we think about the idea of, or the truth, the fact of being one with God, what that means is I am, and that's it. You may want to say, I am one, or I am one with God. One of my friends has this online community that he always says, we are all one within one. One within one. If you think about that, that looks like this. One. And these are all, that's one. 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 So that's you. That's me. That's your cousin. That's your uncle. That's your auntie. That's your mother. That's your father. That's your husband. That's your child. That's your pastor. We are all one, because we're all one, but we are within one who is God. So when we talk about the I, that's what we're talking about. The I is one. And that's important to know when it comes to spiritual growth, because when we're growing spiritually, we're shedding the ego identity and we're shedding the separate identity, and we are putting on the God identity, which is the identity of one.